Bueno, amigos de Stairway to Rock, ¿qué tal? Una semana más, bienvenidos. Dejadme también saludar a Jordi. ¿Qué tal, Jordi? ¿Qué tal esta semana?
Excelente. Bueno, ayer estuve en el concierto de Guns N' Roses y hoy tenemos una invitada de absoluta excepción.
Sí, bueno, dejadme pasarme al inglés para que ella me entienda también. Welcome, Sharon, from Within Temptation.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
for
much.
being with us today. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm looking forward to coming to Spain because the weather is here shite.
Mm. We
Sorry
are
for my
here. We
for
are
my
here
French.
at 15 degrees also, so I want to,
Oh,
to go
really?
to
Oh, okay, it's
Spain.
the same weather as we have, and it's raining completely. So blah.
Yeah, so yeah, the reason of the interview is for sure to tell a little bit of the documentary that you released more or less 1 month ago. First of all, congratulations. Both of us have seen the documentary and it's really impressive. So yes, just tell us a little bit how was this experience?
Well, it was an experience I'll never forget, that's for sure. And also, it was the most inspirational thing I've ever been part of because people were so open and so friendly. The people I've met in Kiev, and also the musicians and well, everybody I met actually there was no exception. And how life actually is normal there until, of course, there is an air alert and there's drones and rockets coming your way, then the whole situation just changes like over in a few seconds. You get an app, and we had an app where it would tell you when there would be coming drones in your area, or when there was a missile launched coming your way, or an airplane coming your way, and then you would have to go to a shelter. So it was those kind of things. And for us it was already kind of, mind blowing to be there for only a week, and for them to be there constantly having this shadow over their head. Is like life is perfectly normal. There's weddings there, you can go to dinners, you can go to restaurants, everything. Life goes on like it does here, but then all of a sudden, like in a split second, you can, the atmosphere changes. And that's kind of yeah, in a nutshell, how I experienced it.
Do you have in your mind to do a documentary about your trip to meet the band from Ukraine?
Yeah. On our trip, we met a Blind Eight. We had found them on the internet before we went there, and we were very much inspired. Very impressed by their music, a young band, and yeah, doing a lot of new stuff. And we felt like they have a lot of talent. So we asked them to come on tour with us, and if we could meet while I was there in Kiev. And then they told me that two of their band members were being drafted for the army, and so it became difficult for them eventually to come with us. And eventually, they do come with us on tour last year, and but then a bit later, then we started our tour because they didn't get the right papers from the right people. And they were not allowed to leave, and they didn't want to go without permission, because if you go without permission, you are really, really really big problems you get from that if you go back again, because then they will send you to the front immediately. So you want to have those documents be perfectly in order. And so when they did join up, yeah, that was really like very, very beautiful, because the fact that we are, of course, telling a story about the Ukraine with our latest album, and also about Iran, but also about the Ukraine. And to have a band from the Ukraine made the whole circle complete. That it's their story that we're telling. It's not our story, but it is. We were inspired by it, by writing that latest album of ours, mostly about the Ukraine, and then to have a band from that, from the country itself, that was like, for us, that made sense for us, because um, they can only tell from their own heart what happens, and they can tell the best how it feels like to live there and to be there and to be Ukrainian, to be under attack. And for them, it was quite difficult to be with us. At the same time, they loved being with us, but because this was their dream, being on tour, but to leave their family behind felt also bad in a way, if you can understand, because they were not there to protect them if anything would happen.
Like guilty.
Yeah, felt very guilty. Yeah. So they felt happy but guilty at the same time. And for them also, that was kind of schizophrenic in a way, because when they left, they were soldiers because they were already drafted. They already had their, suits, their army suits and everything. And so they took a picture from soldier to rock star, and then you saw them with us, and then back again after the tour, being a soldier again. It's like that must be like, I really hope they can cope with everything they're going through, because that must be a shock. Like, and we just learned that they might be going to the war zone really now, because they have had like 5-6 months of training, and they're about to go there any moment now.
I was my boyfriend is from Ukraine. No, even my parents-in-law, yeah, even they are living in Spain. There are some part of the family that is still in Ukraine,
Yeah.
unfortunately. We were seeing the documentary together, and he asked me about if you have any strong link with Ukraine, because he was telling me no one gets involved so strong for no reason, and I was, yeah, that's even true.
Yeah, it's there's many reasons why we got so involved. Is the first time, of course, you think it's very unjustified. If any war, most wars are stupid and horrible.
Yeah.
This war is so clearly that Russia is the attacker and the aggressor. And even now, when Ukraine is attacking Russia as well, but they only do military goals. They don't do where people live. That's not their target. And when they take out some big general or something, it's only him that they plant a bomb in a car. It's like where Russia is bombing everything and everyone. They want to kill as many people as possible. And for us, it's such a clear war. Who is the aggressor? It's there. There's no doubt about it. And of course, when the war started, we were supposed to play in Atlas Festival in Kiev, and that got cancelled. Of course, the whole festival got cancelled. So a few people who worked for the Atlas Festival were starting to work for Music Saves Ukraine. And they asked us to be part of a marathon. It's like a 24-hour marathon to raise awareness for Ukraine. And so we did. We recorded a song at home, and it was online. Some people went to Kiev even. But for one song that was, we were just after Corona, and we felt like maybe we should wait with going to Kiev at this moment. But we did an online song. And then the same people kept asking us to do more and more and more. And we got to know the organization very well, Music Saves Ukraine, and also some other organizations who are trying to help the Ukraine, like Ukrainian Aid Ops, which is helping the army to provide them with things they don't have, like binoculars, jammers for drones that are attacking, many things. And so we felt like the more we got to know people, the more personal it became, because you get to know the people behind the organizations. And we had like weekly calls with them, and trying to find a Ukrainian band, you get to know the boys of the Ukrainian band. So we became, we've also played before the war started in the Ukraine several times, and we always had a very warm welcome. We once had a mayor in Kherson invite us to come and plant a tree for peace and for prosperity, and in their garden, just in front of the mayor's office. And we were not the only band. There were many other bands who were asked to do that on a yearly basis, I guess. Sorry. And it just made a huge impression on us, because we were there for almost a week. And they showed us around. They gave us Ukrainian food. They were so proud of their country, trying to
The
become.
Ukrainian food is really good, I must confess. I'm really
Yeah, it's
fan.
good, eh? Yeah. I'm a big fan of the borscht.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I don't know, it just felt like we had a huge connection with the Ukrainian people. And although we have been touring Russia way more often than the Ukraine, eventually, we did feel the need to stand up for Ukraine, as they are, you know, they're holding up the lines between Russia and Europe, and it's in our backyards, and we feel very connected in their values, how they see people, how they see value of life, and and where I think we're very different from the Russians in a way, and I think they're very close to how we look at life, how we look at society, a democracy, and those kind of things. So they're more close to us than the Russian culture.
Yeah, sorry, and I let Jordi ask. This is one of my questions. If you have received any bad feedback from your Russian fans?
Well, if it's really our fans is the question, because there's a lot of trolls out there. And at the moment, they're trying to really disturb also our documentary, because every time we've seen now that the people are trying to flag our documentary.
Really?
Yeah, and it's getting less views because of that, because YouTube has put it on hold because of that. Where we had 100,000 views a day, there are hardly 10,000 now, even less sometimes. And so that's annoying, and we can see how fast they've done that. Like within the 5 seconds of starting the documentary, they immediately flag, and that's a sign that, you know, there are probably trolls working to disturb that feed of the documentary to make it go, you know, worldwide. So, but we're working on it, hoping to solve it somehow. But yeah. But so you see, who was answering things at us? Sometimes it might have been fans from the past, but I think there's a lot of people there also that were never fans at all.
Sure.
So it's very difficult to say. We've been asked since the war started many times to come to play in Russia, but I think they will never let us go.
No, I think the same.
So we rather play here or in Kiev or somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, Sharon, and many years ago, it seemed that music could change the world. But nowadays, it seems that music is just a complement or a hobby. But in your case, with this documentary, I feel that your force can do something.
Well, you know, the thing is, we've always been engaged with looking at wars in the past. So we've always been politically engaged in a way, but never as vocally as now. And I think we all have an obligation, as, you know, even though you're a citizen and although you think your government is responsible for everything, you have the obligation, and you have, you know, you have the same knowledge. You can see the news. You're living in a democracy. You can, you know, there's many channels to get your news feed from. So it's not like you can't do anything. I think everybody can do something, and I think the world has been waking up. You know, if it's concerning Gaza or environmental stuff that's happening, or Ukraine, I think people are getting more aware of it, and that it is like times are changing. So it is very important, especially now, to be clear about where you stand and what your opinion is about where you want to, what kind of country you want to live in, what kind of do you want to live in a democracy or an autocracy? Because Europe is changing fast at the moment. Even our own government just fell like last week, and but it's, you know, in Poland even they just elected again a more right-winged president than a left wing. And it was a very close call. But, you know, there's so much interference by Russia making fake news, and even America nowadays trying to being involved with all the elections, that people should really be aware that how much their vote is important, and to inform themselves, although they are fed up with all the wars. But if people in the Ukraine and Gaza and Sudan were able to be fed up like we are sometimes of the news, they don't have that luxury. So it is important to take a stand, even for anyone who doesn't have a band or, you know, we all are responsible in a way.
And watching you singing in Atlas festivals in Ukraine makes me think about Bruce Dickinson playing in Sarajevo many years ago. I don't know if you remember what he did, but it's I
Tell
think
me.
it's closer.
Okay, can you tell me, because I can't remember.
Ah, well, Bruce Dickinson decided to play in Sarajevo while the bombs were
Oh, wow.
when Sarajevo was attacked, and he did it, and more or
Wow.
less it's closer what about what you did.
Yeah, yeah. That's very cool. I didn't know about that actually. So thank you for telling me that.
Yeah.
No, it's, I think, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I just, the thing is, like I said before, I think it's for everyone to decide where they stand and what they will do to talk about this. You can make it in a small way, just picking up a flag, or you can just say something in an interview. You don't have to put your whole show about something like that. But it's more like, just talking, or even trying to talk to people who think differently than you, who are your friends. Although it might jeopardize your friendship, but it is important to have that conversation. Like, what kind of world do we want to live in? Or what kind of society do we want to live in our own country? That's where it starts. It's important.
Yes, and my last question, and is just curiosity of the documentary, is how did the band, the Blind Aid, get to go to tour there? Because I assume that was really difficult to get the approval, no, to go
Yes,
out from the
exactly.
country.
They
So
got,
do you have
yeah.
to ask for the Netherlands government for some documents or no?
No, we did try to do everything from our side, with the government, and try to see the embassy here in the Ukraine, like talking and giving them all the information Blind Date needed to prove that they're actually really going on tour and not a fake tour or something. Because, there's also people that really want to leave the country. And we also had a conversation with them, like, okay, we really need to be sure that you're going back also, because otherwise we will be the band that took,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a lot of trust going on there, going both ways. That they will go back and do the promise that they made to their people. And so and and they did, because that's all they wanted to do. They wanted to go back, but you're never 100% sure, of course. But it took them a lot of effort to get the right people to sign the documents they needed to go there.
Nice.
And yeah, and also when they went back, they said, we really need to go back. The show was done in Amsterdam, the Ziggo Dome, and they said, we really have to leave very quickly, because we need to be back at our regiments as soon as possible, and even in between, because there was something wrong with their regiment, and they had to go back halfway during the tour at a certain break that we had. They went to Kiev and then back again, not sure if they get the papers again. And so yeah, they really really wanted to go back, and they really wanted to do things the right way. And that was something, why I even more so appreciate them, because I can also understand you wanting to leave a country in that situation. Not everybody is made for war, but on the other hand, yeah, that they did go back and felt that duty. That was, I think, yeah, very beautiful.
And what about Ginger? They probably the most famous band from Ukraine.
Yeah,
I
well,
inter I
yeah,
interviewed Eugene, the leader, the
yeah.
bass player, and he's from the Donbass, and he told me a lot of stories about the beginning of the war.
Yeah. Well, I don't know them personally. I did play with them on Sweden Rock, but they were on stage while we were trying to prepare ourselves for our own show, and we missed each other, unfortunately. So I would have liked to have talked to them, but we didn't, unfortunately. I've never met them before.
I will ask you about the festival in Czech Republic that you have been 1 week ago, more or less. You meet
Yeah.
the three queens of metal, let's say, which that picture is amazing. I think all the world is fan of you. So yeah.
Well, Christina's birthday came up, And I didn't know, but I was in the backstage, and their vocalist, not Christina, but the other one, he came up to me and said, Andrea, I think he's called. And he said, would you like to come as well? I said, yeah, of course, that would be cool. And we've been touring with them in the past, many years ago. And yeah, they're nice guys, and she's lovely. And so it's her birthday, and she's in the middle of, a festival season. And you know, sometimes you can be, yeah, it's nice to feel then, appreciation from colleagues and your own bandmates, because you're alone there, not with family, and they are your second family, of course. But then it's nice to do something extra. And it was really sweet how they had arranged a cake for her, and they asked Simone to be there and to do that. And then initially also asked me later on to join, and it's like, yeah, why not? I would love to do that. I think we can all recognize when you're on the road, and yeah, to be surprised like that, it's always nice, so
It's nice
and
because as me, for example, it seems like you transmit the friendship or also the camaraderie between
yeah,
you, even on stage, but also outside.
yeah, you know what it is, I think it's important to support each other. And I think we have similar lives, we all have the similar
Hmm.
kind of way of touring. We all are women, and even though, women are being very much appreciated nowadays, more than ever, at least than in the past, it's still a struggle for women to be in metal somehow. I think that myself, I didn't have much trouble, but I know that from colleagues that they didn't have an easy ride always. So for me, it's like, when you see each other and they're all very lovely ladies, it's like you need to support each other and to be there for each other. So that's, I think, and it's always fun to see each other and to have a conversation, although it's very short most of the time because there's hardly any time. You just have to do your show and prepare, and after that you go immediately again to a next festival or something else. And but it's lovely always to see each other, and they're all really nice people.
And talking about metal queens, Tarja Turunen, you tour with Tarja and you
Yes.
play some songs together. And it was, I had to say, probably your last concert in Barcelona. It was my favorite Within Temptation show ever.
Oh, thank you. Well, for us, it was really like a cherry on the cake to have her with us. She is a friend of mine, and she is someone I've grew to know throughout the years. And we had such a lovely time being on tour also, and a lot of fun. And again, it's also about empowering each other. And she had no problems, just coming to our show and doing that without her band, and to perform with our band several songs. Yeah, it was just like also the whole show that we had, also with Alex Yarmark and the Blind Aid guys, and NSOK and also support act. It was like one big show. It was not like, it felt like it was all part of each other without, although there were different bands and things happening, but it was very organic how it all transposed from one band to the other and integrating. I was also on stage with NSOK, and Alex Yarmak was on stage with us. He used to be in Blind Eight, and he's now they're both doing their own thing separately now, and they both ended up on our tour, and they all were in one bus together. So it was, it was really, yeah, it was really, I think, one of the most beautiful tours I've ever done. How the atmosphere was so relaxed, and yeah, nice people enjoying themselves being on stage.
Also, in the live album that you published 1 year ago, it's also one song singing with Amy Lee. In some moment at the beginnings of 2000, I think Evanescence and Within Temptation were, I mean, the two referent bands. So this crossover is also amazing 20 years later.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a good remember of these years, I think.
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, I think especially for fans, it was really nice to see two bands they have maybe, grew up with when they were kids, you know, listening to the music.
Totally.
And then, yeah, and then seeing two bands in the more or less same kind of genre, although we're quite different, we do have overlap in music style. It's nice to see them both, you know, and then having a, I think it was two for the price of one, and it was really nice. I think for a lot of people, for us as well. So it was, yeah, it was. I must say, I've been a very lucky person, meeting all these beautiful people on the road. Yeah.
Returning to Barcelona concert, I remember that PhotoPass was forbidden. So I want to ask you about it's a decision of the band, the managers.
Photo pass for which tour?
In your last concert in Barcelona, uh, it was no photos.
Oh, really? We had
Yeah,
there were photographers. I know because the first three songs, everybody's allowed to take photos, and people have to get a pass through management in time, and then you get appointed. And I think there were a lot of photographers, to be honest. And we also have our own photographer, but there's always, yeah, always people from local magazines and everybody else allowed if they get, if they are, you know, if they have been in time with asking for a pass, because a lot of times on the day itself is going to be difficult because there's so many things happening. But I don't know why there was no pass for some other people then.
Yes, maybe it was decision of the
yeah.
touring agency. This
Yeah,
order,
maybe, or
yeah,
maybe
is
the
to be
venue. I
broad.
don't know. Yeah, you never know because I remember that Barcelona is a very difficult venue. You know, where you come in is the way out. Also, if something happens and there are barriers, and you know, I don't know. Maybe it's a safety kind of thing.
Okay.
I want to ask you about the video clip of Ritual. I think it's shocking, and there is the famous kiss with Jennifer Hermoso. I don't
Yes.
know. Some for people in Spain, it was great to see that have an impact within Temptation Music.
Yeah, it was that just had happened while we were making that video, and we felt like, you know, why not put that in because it is about women's rights, about in this case it's about Iran, but it's also trying to get certain things that actually happened in the Western world combined with that will make people think, okay, you know, it's everywhere a little bit, but it's mostly in countries like Iran where people, where women and young men also who are supporting their women have a difficult time. And so we felt like integrating that, you know, something from the West and in a song that is about the East.
Yeah, this is not a question, just a suggestion that I was thinking. Maybe if in some years you are bored and you don't know what to do, maybe you can do like a Metal Queen orchestra with all of you singing, and I
Oh,
think this will be amazing.
that's a good idea, actually. I'm gonna keep
Yes,
that in mind.
yeah.
Very good.
So, for the moment, your plan in summer, I think you are gonna be in the top festivals of all Europe. Even
Yeah.
you are gonna be in Leyendas del Rock. I think it's your only visit in Spain this summer. Any special plan? We have to ask, as we are Spanish.
Yeah, sorry, for the festivals, if we have anything special for the festivals?
For our festival in
Yeah, yeah.
specifically, but in general, yeah.
Okay, in general, yeah. Um, well, of course, because we are trying well, we've what you always have is like when you have a tour, then the festivals will be connected to the tour, like how it looks. And of course, our latest album will be presented there mostly. But when you're playing on a festival, you try to look at what kind of festival do you play at? Is it more metal or is it more mainstream? Because we have both. And because of that, we will decide what kind of set list will we be playing. And we've decided to put some old stuff as there as well that we have been playing for years and or some years, and it's a mixture of old and new again. Unfortunately, because that's the way it is, because you want to please people that are coming for certain songs that they haven't heard for many years. There are a lot of people that don't know you that come for other bands. It's like, hey, I don't know them, but that song I do know. So it's a combination of trying to, yeah, maybe please everyone, not the specific with invitation fan, they will come to the shows, to the tour that you're doing. And festivals is more to, for a broader audience that don't know you that well.
I'm happy because I spoiler myself just checking the set list
Oh,
of the
really?
tour. Yeah, and my favorite song is "Shot in the Dark."
Oh, really?
It's amazing. The chorus, not the best that you did, but for me it is. So and you
Okay.
are playing this, so
Okay, well, thank you.
So, Mother Earth is my
Your
favorite
favorite,
song.
yes.
Yeah, because I started many years ago. As you can see, I got really old stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I have your last album
Ah,
too.
yay.
So,
That's a
taking
lot.
a look to the front covers, I see that in the beginning you are always in the front cover, but years later, it's
Yeah.
you are not in the front cover. It's more.
Yeah.
Uh, why you started with Sharon and Adel in the front cover? It was a decision of the.
Well, we were signed with a Dutch record company, and he said, to make more visible who you are as a band, maybe the singer should be on the cover. And it was also a budget thing, It's when we started, we didn't have much
Hmm.
budgets, and so it was an easy way to make people clear, yeah, I don't know, to set a certain atmosphere. And um, I think that was the main reason. And I don't, yeah. He asked, do you mind being on the cover? I said, no, I don't mind stuff. It's fine. But later on, we wanted to have more distance because otherwise people will think that everything you write is about Sharon and Adel, which is not, because it's a whole band behind it. And we felt like, we need to have more natural covers neutral covers that everybody, it's more the band presenting instead of one person that you're presenting. It's not the vocalist and the band. So eventually we did change that to make it more mysterious and more storytelling about the topics that we were talking about instead of a person.
I think you changed also a little bit the outfit of the band. You were wearing more brighter colors before, but I think you are gonna keep. I don't know if in this tour, but more black. It's that I'm right or
The clothes, you mean?
yeah.
With the band we changed every time a little bit. With the Resist album, we all had like more white kind of clothes and more futuristic. So we adapt to everything that we think that suits the latest album more or less. And that's yeah.
I have a
Also,
question. How much corsets do you have?
oh, so many. My mom's getting crazy because I'm dumping everything in her attic. Hi, mom. No, she don't mind. She doesn't mind because she has a lot of space. And I have some at home as well, but I have so much dresses. I can start a museum if I want to.
But
So,
you have a very good taste wearing. I mean,
oh, thank you.
everyone is it's totally true.
Well,
I love the crown.
you
Your
like the
crown
crowns?
is
Yeah.
it's a symbol for the band, I think.
Well, the thing is, it helps finish, to my opinion, the look that you're trying to put on stage. I had this armor on my arm
Hmm.
2 years back, and then with a crown, I felt that suited. Otherwise, it didn't feel finished or something. And having something really like this male kind of armor almost on your arm, it's nice to have something more feminine. In a way. So I think that's the reason why I put it on. I was like, yeah, and you're talking about religion. It has some attachment to religion and different aspects to our music and lyrics. So I think that combination worked for our latest album very much.
Should I
What
or
was no?
oh.
Sorry. uh, in 2004, Stand My Ground hits in Spain was amazing. You were in 40 Principales for a metal band. It's unbelievable.
For us, it was unbelievable as well.
I think you were in. You told me that you were in Spain and in a Lidl maybe or a supermarket. You can
Yeah.
listen to your song.
Yeah, it was a mall where we went with elevator into the mall, and then semi-ground started playing, and then we went to a supermarket after that, and the song was still playing. Yeah. And it was the first time in our lives that we heard it somewhere outside of, a music cafe or a bar, and that was surprising to us, or radio station, So to have it on daily, just walking through the supermarket, having your music on was like, okay, awkward, but also very a big compliment also in a way.
Okay, I have a other question. How do you feel the transformation in the industry in the music that now demands fast music, a lot of singles, releasings every year? Do you feel push to change to this mind or not?
Well, we have our own record company nowadays, and so we are in control when we release something and how fast we release something, and so we only do what we want to do now. Although in the past you were always waiting for when we had our in our minds, yeah, we want to release our album in May, and then they would say, no, 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 Rammstein's coming out now, or another band, or from the same label at the time. It's not, we have to postpone you because then everybody's working on that band or another band, and now we can release, whenever we want to, which I think is the best.
Which record? Sorry, I don't understand. Or
So-
your own? Or
Sorry.
do you mean we are in a record label now? But I didn't understand.
Oh, yeah, we
It's
have our
your
own.
own?
Yeah, we have our own
Ah,
record label. Yeah, we are.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we think like so many years we've been with a record company. We felt like it's time to try it on our own, and that's what we did with
Totally.
with the last album. So
And we hope for the future albums also. So
Hmm.
yeah. Well, it can be helpful to be with record companies. Don't get me wrong, but it's more like we felt like. That we wanted to change also when we were releasing stuff. Like sometimes in the past, we were like wanted to release singles also, like during Corona. And when we suggested it to our previous record company, they said, "No, that's not a good idea. We don't work like that. We want to have albums, and it's a different way of thinking." And I think when you're allowed to do it all by yourself, and you're able to do it by yourself, then you can, do it whenever you think is best. Even if I say tomorrow we want to release something, we can release something. So there's no strange, and there's not like a whole company that you have to convince to do something in a certain time. And yeah, that works really.
yeah, it's a
Great.
tough conversation to open the topic of record companies. We can
Yeah.
still talking for 1 hour or more about
Yeah,
books.
exactly. But the thing is, and it's not bad to be with a record company, but it has some pluses and it has some minuses. And the thing that we find liberating that we are in control about everything, and also budgets and stuff like that. So yeah.
Avantasia and Irion are two of my favorite projects in which you took part in the past. How do you see Tobias Sammet and Arjen Lucassen? Tobias Sammet, yeah,
Yes.
and Arjen Lucassen.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
are you friends with them? How important
Oh,
are for you?
well, it's projects that I've done a long time ago, and I saw actually Tobias a few years back on Wacken, and he came to say hello. And it was really nice to see him again. Of course, I know both of them quite well. It's not like we have contact a lot or something, but it's more like when you run into each other, you say hi, you have a drink with each other. Yeah, and I must say that I enjoyed doing both very much at the time, and it's really funny that I still, when I have signing sessions, people bring out the at the Aphantasia or the Aryan studies. Can you sign this one as well? So, but people haven't forgotten that we've been participating with them as well. Our history is for 30 years already, so it's a long history, and I really enjoyed working with them as well.
How you train after these many years a soprano voice, and it's more difficult than a alto voice or contralto. I don't know is the same word in English.
If it gets more difficult to train it after.
Yes. No, no.
Well,
I mean, if you had had a more lower
Lower.
register,
um,
should be easier because I assume that the soprano is the most difficult.
well, actually, I find the soprano the most easy one, to be
Ah,
honest.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, especially, I don't know, that just goes by itself somehow. I've done that maybe also the longest, the soprano voice. And but the low voice, when I get a lot of times when I get sick, it will go on my lower register, not my high register. My high song, the light songs, the Mother Earths and the operatic stuff that we've done, that goes much easier somehow, because, well, it's the talking voice that gets damaged the fastest with me anyway. So then it's the lower songs that I always have a problem with, and the heavier songs, like in the middle of the night, which is transposing even within the song. It has high and low. It is normal voice, but then on the highest note you can sing, and then that voice will be dead. When I get sick and like a cold or something, that song will go off the list immediately. It's the most heavy song to sing in the middle of the night. Iron, yeah, those kind of songs are difficult.
Then you have thought to learn, not learn, but keeping training with a teacher or professional, or has been always by yourself?
I've always done it by myself, but there is a lady in the Netherlands nowadays that I can call when I was in England with the tour of the World's Collide tour, and I lost my voice a day before, and I had a day off, and I went to the sauna to maybe get everything open, and but still felt like I can't sing tonight, and I was in a panic, and I called her. I got her phone number, and she gave me some really special tips, actually. No vocal tips really, but how to massage my muscles in my face. And it opened the door for me. As you said, probably you can sing, but because you're having a cold and something is happening to you mentally, also you're in a stress right now.
Hmm.
Just start massaging your face. It's like certain muscles, because everything around your throat is muscles. And if you start, warming them up and massaging that, you will be able to sing probably tonight. And I did. And I was so surprised. I was going on stage, I'm gonna die. And then eventually going off stage, I managed. I know. So I was really happy about that. So apparently the problems I had at that time were not that big, but in my mind they were big because I felt I had no voice. I was completely, yeah, choking in a way. Yeah.
Do you
But
re-
yeah. No,
uh,
thank you.
do you remember the first time you cried in a concert? Which band and which song was?
Right. I don't think I ever cried at another person's show. I did cry a lot of times on music, of course, because words just got in your heart or mind, but not at a show, I believe. Can't remember. Sorry. Good question, though.
And what about, have you ever cried while you were in a concert uh, playing with Temptation?
Yes, I did. Sometimes it's you get overwhelmed by maybe what's happening in personal life, and then lyrics just hit you hard again when you sing something. So it's yeah, I have, and there have been several songs that I know are going to be difficult for me to sing. So like the Forgiven. I mean, the Unforgiving is the album, but the song Forgiven, I find that song sometimes difficult to sing because it's about a personal thing. But also when you're down and you're singing that song, sometimes these memories come back and you start you get it back on stage somehow, which you don't want to happen. Although, that's music. It's also beautiful that music can do that you can let it go, and people understand also.
Finishing?
Yes, we are gonna finishing. Thank you for dedicate us almost 1 hour. Just if you can record a short video right now, like, "Hi, I am Sharon. We are waiting, or we cannot wait to see you in Leyendas del Rock Festival. Don't miss out our interview for Stairway to Rock."
Oh my God. Okay, that's a
More or
lot.
less. It's
More or less.
it's an idea, but don't have to be exactly.
Okay. Leonidas. I have to wait, recording stop. Leonidas del Rock, right? Do I say pronounce it right?
Leyendas.
Leyendas del Rock.
Yes, perfect.
Leyendas del Rock, and the show for you, the
Stairway to Rock.
Stairway to Rock. Okay. The name of the festival again. Sorry.
Leyendas
Come
del Rock.
on, it's our
Leyendas.
festival. You have to
Yeah, I know where it is, and I know how you write it, but Leyendas del Rock. Okay, and the Stairway to
Rock.
Okay, Leyendas del Rock. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Sharon from Winning Station, and we'll be playing Leyendas del Rock, and I hope to see you there. And keep on listening to Stairway to Rock. Yay!
Perfect.
I'm so bad at these things.
Amazing. No, amazing.
No. It's perfect. Well, thank you for this interview.
Yes.
And well, it will be Yolanda and I. We are going to Leyendas del Rock, so we will enjoy your concert.
Well,
Will be-
come and say hi if you're backstage. That would be lovely.
Yeah. Interviewing you was one of my illusions, I must confess, because you are for me a really inspiration in all aspects of life.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I think also for all women in this world, but yeah, you are like my reference. So thank you very much.
Yes, that's too sweet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so have a lovely day.
You
And
too. Thank you very much. Until Leyendas del Rock.
Yes.
Until then, thank you very much.
Perfect.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
You too.